You might be wondering, Jake, why did you bring the Educational Duct Tape Podcast back after such a long hiatus? Well, dear duct taper, it's so that I could tell you that I want you to be more like a buffalo. What? You say? Yes, a buffalo. So I first heard about being like a buffalo in a podcast interview with Rory Vaden, an accomplished speaker, author, business coach, and podcaster. In Colorado, where Vaden grew up, he said there are both buffalo and cows. In Ohio, where I grew up, we have cows, not buffalo. Well, I mean, we have Buffalo Wild Wings, which I still call BW3, and we have a few Buffalo Bills fans here and there, but no actual buffalo. Since we have no roaming buffalo here in Ohio, I needed Vaden's special geographical experience for this reference. Anyhow, he shared that when a storm approaches from the west, cows naturally run east, attempting to outrun the storm. Inevitably, the storm catches up with them because cows are slow and they end up running with the storm, right? They're running east and the storm's moving east. And so they're literally running east in a storm that's overtaking it and they continue to go through it, right? And it prolongs their discomfort. And wouldn't it figure, cows don't have opposable thumbs, so they can't hold umbrellas. It's a bad situation all around. Buffalo, on the other hand, also can't hold umbrellas, I assume. I've never seen one in person, so I don't know. I can ask one next time I see one. The one in the BW3's, Buffalo Wild Wings commercials maybe could hold an umbrella. It seems like he holds beers and things like that in the commercials. But anyhow, most of them probably can't hold umbrellas, but they one-up the cow in one key way. They charge directly into the storm, not away from it, into it. That minimizes the time they spend in it because they're running the opposite direction of it, right? This metaphor brilliantly illustrates how we often handle challenges. Like cows, we tend to avoid confronting difficult situations, only to find ourselves engulfed in them sooner or later and longer than necessary. People that Vaden calls ultra performers understand that problems that are procrastinated on are only amplified. Waiting always makes it worse. By the way, that reference comes from an article Vaden wrote, which I'll link in the show notes for you. Speaking of the storms, the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence, AI, in education can feel like a brewing storm. Heck, it's not even brewing anymore. It's here. Just like the fears of damage and destruction from storms, there are legitimate fears about the implications of AI. Will it replace teachers, or more likely forever change what teaching and learning look like? Will students use it to cheat? Will students be exposed to inaccurate information through AI? Will it expose them to concerning biases from AI? How will it impact student privacy? These concerns are valid and deserve our attention. However, just as a storm provides much needed water for plants, AI holds immense potential for enhancing education. From personalized learning experiences to efficient administrative tools, the benefits are substantial. As educators, it's crucial to acknowledge both the scary and valuable elements of AI. There will probably be lightning, there may be flooding, and there's a remote possibility of a tornado, but there's also benefits. The key is not to run away from the AI storm or, like an ostrich, bury our heads in the sand. Geez, Jake, how many animals can you fit into the soapbox moment? Did you study zoology during the podcast hiatus? Also, it's actually a myth that ostriches stick their heads in the sand when scared, but you know what they say. If the myth fits, wear it. Anyhow, we can't attempt to be like the ostrich or run from the storm like a cow. We must face it head on like the buffalo. So how do we adopt the buffalo mentality when it comes to AI and education? Here are a few potential steps. First, educate yourself. Stay informed about the latest AI developments and their applications in education. If you're like me, you sometimes cringe when you hear about a new AI tool. Yes, it's exciting, but it's also so overwhelming. I get that, but we have to stay informed. It's like watching the weather, right? You got to know that storm's coming, right? So we need to know what's out there. We also have to educate ourselves about our specific terrain. Just like the buffalo needs to know not to run in the direction of a cliff or a deep river when facing the storm head on, we need to understand the specifics of our own schools and our school systems. What are we allowed to or not allowed to use? What subscriptions are in place? What limits are in place? Second, we need to plan for implementation. Consider how AI can be thoughtfully integrated into your teaching practices and curriculum. In what ways will you use it? In what ways will you not use it? How about with your students? How will you permit them to use it? Third, we need to establish guardrails. Set clear boundaries for AI use to ensure it aligns with your educational values. You can always change those guardrails later, but your learners will need to know where they are. While learners need some freedom, they also need some fences. I love the saying, freedom within fences. Where are your fences regarding AI use? Figure that out before your kids have a chance to ask about them. Take the time now to think about that and establish those guardrails. Fourth, we want to develop policies related to AI. Create guidelines and policies for AI use in your classroom, but also share your voice at the school and district level about your system's policies. Regardless of what those policies are, we need to have them in place. No matter how prohibitive or enabling they are, they need to exist. Fifth, we need to discuss shared norms and standard operating procedures with students. Engage students in conversations about how AI will and will not be used in your classroom. If we could stay away from the words rules and prohibited and instead talk to our learners about norms and standard operating procedures, we stand to build a thriving, positive, inclusive learning environment where students feel empowered and valued, and more importantly, where they're more likely to use AI appropriately and avoid using it inappropriately. Have those discussions with them. What should they be allowed to do? What should they not be allowed to do? Don't hesitate to put your foot down if they push too far, too fast, but give them as much voice as possible. Remember that you can also scaffold this in. You could say, okay, I hear that you'd like to be able to use ChatGPT to create an outline for your essay, but I'm not ready for that yet. How about we use it to proofread your writing now? We could talk about using it to outline essays after the first quarter. At least they'll know their voice was heard. These conversations are powerful and important. Sixth, we need to embrace change. Be open to experimenting with AI tools and learning from the experience, both successes and setbacks. This is a time for you to put on that growth mindset hat. You've been telling your students to have one for years, and I know that you wore that growth mindset hat a lot when you were teaching during the pandemic, but now it's time to pull it back out of storage. Have a growth mindset in relation to AI and model that to your learners. Tell them about what it feels like to wear that hat. Tell them about the struggles and the triumphs. They need people modeling that in their life. So much of what I'm suggesting you do with AI requires some thought and learning on your part. And that's what I'm back for. If I want you to be like the buffalo, I want to be the one that supports you as you do that. So in this upcoming season of the Educational Duct Tape Podcast, we will explore much of AI's potential and address its challenges too. We will talk about different tools, sites, and apps, and we will hear about different strategies and activities. So make sure you're subscribed to the show to be with us each week as we dive into the various ways AI and EdTech in general can revolutionize education, the best practices for its implementation, and the guardrails that we need to have in place. My guests and I will help you educate yourself, plan for implementation, establish those guardrails, develop policies, and embrace change. Whether you're wary of AI's implications or excited about its possibilities, it's vital to run toward it like the buffalo, not away from it like a cow. Embracing this proactive approach will help us navigate the storm more effectively and harness the power of AI to benefit our students and ourselves. Let's face this storm together, head on, and emerge stronger on the other side. By the way, buffalo communicate with each other to help the whole herd weather the storm. So I'll be asking you to communicate with the other duct tapers as well. Buffalo communicate with grunts and body posture, but I don't want to hear your grunts, and I don't think body posture will work very well on a podcast. So instead, I'll be looking for you to share your voice. You could head to the Padlet at eduducttape.com/Padlet or the SpeakPipe at eduducttape.com/SpeakPipe to share an audio or video message. Others on the Padlet will hear it, and more importantly, I'll probably also share it on the show. There are instructions for recording on the Padlet as well as on SpeakPipe. Did today's Soapbox Moment give you an idea that you'd like to share? you can head over to the Padlet or SpeakPipe now. I will say Padlet is my preferred method because you can communicate with the other audience members there. They'll see your posts, you'll see their posts, you can respond to each other. While SpeakPipe just submits it to me, and then I'll put it in the podcast. Regardless, though, I'd love to hear from you wherever you're most comfortable sharing, whether it's the Padlet or the SpeakPipe, up to you. I would just love to hear from you. Again, you can access the Padlet, my preferred option, at eduducttape.com/Padlet. Similarly, you can access the SpeakPipe at eduducttape.com/SpeakPipe. And again, those links are in the show notes, or if you're seeing this on YouTube, they're also in the video description. Speaking of YouTube, this season I'm going to try to put every soapbox moment, like this one, on YouTube as well as in the podcast. So you can catch it in either place. And if you'd be so kind as to share it with your friends and colleagues, you'll be able to share either the video YouTube version or the podcast version. Gotta love having options, right? Okay, so that does it for today. Please make sure you're subscribed so you get next week's episode as soon as it comes out. And please share about the show so that you're entered into that contest that I mentioned earlier. The details are in the show notes. All right, folks, that does it. Thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you so much for what you do for learners in your school.